AI automation agencies are the next big thing, and if you're planning on running an AI automation agency or you're currently in the progress of building one, you're gonna sometime down the line need to start working with some clients. So in today's training, I'm gonna be walking you through what to expect when you're first signing your first few clients, how to do outreach and cold outreach properly, and what you should do to prepare for the clients you'll be talking to. Alright, so now without further ado, let's dive into the meat of this training. Firstly, we're going to be covering outreach, so where to find clients, where to scrape clients, and ultimately how to keep score and how to scale your outreach so then you can send hundreds and even thousands of messages per day to your target demographic or your target business. Number 2 is that we'll be going over platforms to use to send these cold outreach messages. And number 3 is I'm going to be going over a bonus tip, which is going to be using AI for outreach. Alright, so before we start, I just wanted to make sure that you're on the same page, right? So before we start, we need to make sure that we have a few things on the checklist that we've ticked off. Number 1 is that you need to make sure that you have your niche down. Find a niche or industry that you're comfortable in operating in, or maybe even have a little experience in. It needs to be ever growing, evergreen, and it also needs to be lead and traffic rich, although this may differ from niche to niche. But ideally, as AI automation agency owners, we want to be working with businesses with a lot of lead flow, with a lot of traffic, and with a lot of people visiting their websites or visiting their business every single month. So then we're able to fully maximize the effectiveness of installing chatbots and software onto their business. Since the more traffic there is, the more data we can collect. Number 2 is you want to make sure your offer is down. And of course, a good offer comes with iteration, but take things step by step. All you need to do at first is just draft a final offer for your first few batch of clients to do a test to see if your offer sticks with your target demographic. Another super valuable addition is that you should also use the Hormozi's value equation to best strike the balance of your home run offer. And number 3 is of course finding leads, right? But to have clients to work with, we first need to know where to find them and where they hang out. So we're going to be using Apollo, and I'm going to be doing a live demonstration in this video. We could also use Crunchbase, myip.ms, built with for those people looking for e-com stores, and even seamless.ai. And last but not least, we want to prepare ourselves for launch date, so when we're actually starting to send emails. When I first started out, I used Lemlist, but you guys can use Lemlist or Instantly, it doesn't really matter. But in the examples in this video, I'm just going to be strictly using Lemlist. Alright, so now let's dive into the first portion of this training, which is email outreach. I'm going to be teaching you how to effectively scale a great email marketing campaign. So let's dive into a little bit of technicals of the Lemlist or Instantly. So when we were first starting out our agency and actually building out our cold outreach systems, we were very careful not to send too many emails when we were first starting out, just so that we fly under Google's spam filter radar and we're not landing in our prospects spam folder. So when you're first starting out as well, I recommend you start sending slowly and keep the volume low, relatively low, like 1 to 50 people per day, and then slowly increase it as you go. And before you start sending emails, you need to make sure that you register a domain to your business. So my business is cbox.digital. So my business domain name would be hugo@cboxdigital.com. You want to have multiple domains and multiple copies of these domains so that you're able to then send emails from multiple domains. If one domain gets landed in a spam filter, you can always use the other domains to catch up. So this is kind of like just having some insurance in your business before sending emails. And like I said just now, you just need to slowly and steadily increase the volume of emails you send per day, or else this will happen to you. So as you can see here, one of our domains actually, had that spam filter pop up, and a lot of our emails were actually just, landing in spam, and we actually had to just leave and abandon that domain. So in case that actually happens to one of your domains, having multiple other ones is super beneficial, and then you're just able to scale much easier, so why not do it? So another thing which I get asked a lot in terms of doing outreach and sending cold messages to business owners and business people is that a lot of them appear to be very rude. These business owners, founders, CEOs do not want to actively be in the business. They just want other people to take care of it for them. And some of them can be very rude and even reply, if you're lucky to get a reply, fuck off, you're a scammer, you agencies are just noobs. But yeah, you're gonna get people telling you to unsubscribe. This was a relatively nice prospect, but parents have people tell you to fuck off from the emails, and people will unsubscribe and will tell you to stop sending them emails and stop bothering them. But you just got to keep putting in the work and just start raking volume to actually be able to sign these clients. And if you can see here, this is actually a conversation that my appointment setter had with a LinkedIn prospect, but I wanted to actually share this with you right now to actually take a look at what potentially a conversation might look like when you're signing a DTC brand or a DTC business owner. First of all, for a bit of context, I sent him an icebreaker and an outreach message onto his LinkedIn DMs. You see, you're bonkers, you're just crazy, your offer is shit, you have no idea what our business is about, what our revenue is. That's completely true. But then my appointment setter actually, managed to actually kind of qualify how much he's making per year. He didn't, respond. What does that have to do with anything at all? That's very true. That's a very valid response. And yeah, we have no idea what his business is, but it's, sometimes it's okay to, assume things. And if it's not the right thing, you can then clarify in the messages like we are right now. Applied with, that's totally accurate. That's justifiable. And he starts crying and complaining that, outreach messages is what ruined LinkedIn. Come on, everyone uses LinkedIn. And, fair play to my appointment setter. He said, just because we don't know anything about your business, does that mean you should stop looking for help? You know, that's a very fair response, and he didn't reply. But you'll have these altercations and these messages and conversations with many people when you're first signing your first few clients. So this is just a quick heads up. So secondly, to get one step closer to signing your first client for your AI automation agency is just to be proactive. So for those of you who've been sticking around my channel for a long time now, you know that I have operated my agency with a business partner for a long time. His name is Adrian. And when we were first starting out, this is, you know, in January 31st, 2022, this is when we were officially starting out. We were figuring out how to get Lemmas to work and how to actually figure out cold email. So we were actually proactive. We went into these groups and started searching up how to do this, how to do that, how to set this up, how to set that up. Don't just be asking, you know, everyone how to do this, how to do that. Just do your own research. When and only when you're really stuck, reach out for help or reach out to a mentor. So after some consistent grinding, you know, even days, weeks, months, you'll start getting replies and you will start getting book calls and you will eventually start hopping on sales calls. A lot of people will tell you that cold email is dead and that it's impossible to sign clients on there, but I'm living proof to tell you otherwise. And with consistent research of whether your clients are hanging out, paired with consistent tracking of your emails being sent every day, you will start getting consistent replies. And remember, you're speaking to another human being over the phone or over, you know, text message or even over email. So treat them like one. My next tip, which is also really helpful in helping you, you know, sign your first few clients or even for signing your first client for your AI automation agency, is recording your calls. So this was a picture of me and Adrian on a sales call. As you can see, his name here, Adrian Toe, and we were with our prospect here, but I was actually in Denmark at this time taking this sales call, and this was back in 2022 of January. So, you know, early last year, I was taking my first few sales calls. I was really unconfident. You know, I was speaking really fast. I was speaking like this. Oh yeah, we do Facebook ads for you. We do, you know, email marketing for you. You know, I was speaking like that just to seem more credible to, you know, the prospect on the other side of the Zoom call. And one thing that I didn't do soon enough was recording my Zoom calls and actually looking at my Zoom calls and reflecting on how I'm, you know, my tonality is, how my pacing is, how I'm leading the call, and how I'm actually, you know, asking probing questions to better understand my clients so then I could find a better view or angle to actually close them. So take this from me, a 23-year-old dude who's taken more than 350 sales calls. And it's also really important to realize that a sales call isn't just a sales call in order to sign that client. You know, you can also use that sales call for many different reasons, such as giving free referrals because you just decided to provide some value to a prospect on the call. It gives you a lot of information, data, and research about the industry so you're better able to tailor your offer to better speak to future prospects. It also helps you develop your offer over time, and you also become a better speaker, leader, and business owner over time. So there is no loss in recording your calls and actually actively tracking them week by week. So you might be wondering what our initial offer was when we were sending cold outreach messages. And our initial offer was that because we saw a lot of e-com brands, you know, sending email marketing messages, you know, to their customers, a lot of them are actually ending up in the promotions tab. And on the promotions tab, not a lot of people actually click and check out their emails. So our value proposition back then and offer was to actually help their emails get out of promotions tabs. So that's just a little info about for those of you who wanted to know what my offer was when I first started out, just to give you a little bit of inspo. So now let's move on to the initial struggles that I see for people who are starting out cold emailing and trying to find their first client. And this was something that I experienced myself as well. You know, Georgia here posted in the group and he said, you know, record open rates, but the lowest reply rates ever, which means that his subject line is getting people to click, but nobody's actually clicking on any links inside of that email as they're reading. So how do we fix this? Well, don't worry, this actually comes with actively being in the trenches and being in your market and industry over time. You can't just get something straight away which clicks with your market, and the market is king. You need to spend some time to actually dive inside and swim to come up with a home run offer. It's also super important to start tracking your leads and sales calls just to see how many sales calls you're getting per week and how many sales calls you're actually closing. And if you want the exact sheet that me and my business uses to track our sales calls, and click on the link down in the description below to join my newsletter where you're going to receive the link to track your sales calls. And let's say you're starting to slowly scale your outreach up and the amount of volume of emails that you're able to send per day. And let's say, touch wood, you get some emails landing in spam folders. I would rinse and repeat with the other domain as I mentioned earlier in the video. And when and only when you're able to send 100 to 200 messages per day consistently for 2 weeks or more plus without a dangerous amount of emails landing in spam, then and only then am I going to start scaling my campaigns and scaling the volume. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the cold email checklist. So a few things that go into a great cold email so that prospects start clicking on your emails and starting booking calls with you so they can start signing them as clients. The first requirement is having a great subject line. So a subject line is a short few word sentence or just which gets the reader to click on the email. Ideally, you want this to be like a scroll stopper or an attention breaker, which gets them to stop scrolling and actually get them to click. Number two is once they've actually clicked on the email, you want to start off the email by a relevant icebreaker which relates why you're reaching reaching out in the first place, to why it matters to them that you're reaching out. If you know this person, or you have some common interests, or you went to the same school or the same state, or you enjoy the same foods and hobbies, make sure that you find this out and actually use it in your icebreakers, because people love relating to people. The third prerequisite is having authority, credibility, and testimonials or case studies. And this instantly just boosts your authority in being able to get replies from these businesses, because the most common problem out there is trust. But try not to add too many pictures and case studies, because this will decrease your deliverability and more emails will land in the spam folder. Last but not least is having a call to action, which is a CTA or a closing message, and an email footer to build authority. I'll go through this in one sec. So this is for my email swipe file. So I personally have an email swipe file, which is just an email which I sign up to a lot of different people's businesses and e-com brands, and just kind of look through the emails and see how they write them, how they compose them, the timing of them. And if you want to be a world-class copywriter and email marketer, you need to be looking at world-class copy and email marketing. So if you're interested in starting copywriting and email marketing agency just like I did and scaling it to 6 figures per month, I recommend you join my free newsletter where I personally document my journey, and I feel like it might be valuable. So feel free to click in the description below if you're interested in joining. Yeah, but let's get back to this email right here. So first, right off the bat, is that this subject line is Austin on Monday. So if I were a business owner and I was living in Austin and someone just emailed me Austin on Monday, I'd be pretty confused. I'd be like, what's going on Monday? Secondly, I feel like it has a great icebreaker. You know, he has some sort of relatability and gives a bit about his personality here. Here is his pitch, and he's very straightforward, gives him a praise as well. Who doesn't like a praise? And a very direct call to action at the end of the email, which provides a few options for the business owner to choose from. And also a pretty cool closing message here, 53 mutual friends. So now that we've gone through what we should expect before sending emails and what we need to do in order to sign these clients, let's start scraping some leads together on Apollo.io. All right, now we're in Apollo.io, where we're going to be looking for some leads to sign as our clients for our automation agency. So first of all, let's say we were targeting real estate firm, maybe in the pre-construction firm. We're looking for some real estate companies so that we can start building some chatbots for their websites so that customers have a better shopping experience. First of all, we want to be looking for people who are, founders, co-founders, and chief marketing, chief technology, chief operation officers. We want to make sure we're targeting people who have the authority to actually make decisions so that we know they have the money to pay us. So we don't want a manager. We don't want a project manager. We want to be looking for founders. We also want to be looking for CEOs. So now let's go down to location here. So let's say we're looking for real estate companies or pre-construction companies in Canada. We're going to go down to location here and click on Canada here. So now we already have a bunch of leads who are in the Canadian demographic. Founder and managing directors, we are also interested in that. And we can also take off the management level. So we want an owner, we want a founder, and perhaps even a director. Number of employees, we can keep it relatively small from now. We can do 11 to 20 or 21 to 50. And of course, we want to be taking a look at the industry and keywords. So here it's going to be real estate, commercial real estate. And there we go. We have some real estate companies in Canada. It also shows, where in Canada they are, of Calgary, Vancouver. You also have the first name and last name of the prospect that you're looking for. Just remember when you're exporting the list, and you can, pick the amount and, the people that you want in your certain list. Just remember when you're exporting the list, make sure that you export it as a CSV, so then you could easily import it to your email sending software like Lemlist or Instantly. All right, so now that we've actually found our real estate leads, we can start importing this CSV file to an Excel sheet. All right, so after you've actually went into Apollo.io, found your leads, spend some time actually building your lists and exporting it as a CSV file, we can then start uploading the CSV file onto Google Sheets. And whilst you're on Google Sheets, make sure that you install the GPT Sheets extension so then you can start using ChatGPT on your Google Excel Sheets. So right here, I use the command GPT, and make sure that you're referring back to the website column so that GPT can then just look into the website and start coming up with an icebreaker which gives either the brand owner a compliment or their brand a compliment. And then you can just drag this down to all of the leads here, and then you can have icebreakers written for every single one of them. So then you don't have to start hiring a VA to write every single one of these for you, because that's what we did when you first started out. We actually hired VAs to help us write icebreakers. So this will save you a lot of time before you actually start uploading these emails to Lemlist. All right, so now let's go into another form of outreach, which is LinkedIn outreach. And it comes with a lot of different ways. First of all is creating content and providing value on your LinkedIn profile. Number two is whilst you're actually posting content on LinkedIn, you should actively be doing outreach in the DMs, prospects, and business owners of your target demographic. Number three is groups and community. As you know, LinkedIn has groups as well and communities just like Facebook, where you can actually join and start posting these valuable posts and content into these groups. And this is a great way to start preparing you to start getting some inbound leads, which means that people and prospects and business owners are going to start reaching out to you instead of you reaching out to them. Last but not least is having a great follow-up sequence sequence. The sale is in the follow-up. A lot of business owners actually, they forget about their meeting times and forget to actually get back to you. So having that follow-up sequence and follow-up process is super important, actually guaranteeing that sale. And just like my LinkedIn post here, which I was, very vulnerable and actually shared a lot about my childhood and growing up with my mom, where we were and where we're at now. And this LinkedIn post alone got me 4 book calls and 1 client close. There are a lot of different methods of doing outreach, but the key to LinkedIn is just being consistent in posting content. All right, so now we have Instagram outreach. You probably use Instagram, but probably not in the way of signing clients. And after sending hundreds and thousands of outreach messages to prospects on Instagram, I finally know how to create a killer outreach message. And that's by using voice DMs. Voice messages work really well for me as I've gotten consistent replies over just, a simple text. And number 2 is something that I haven't yet tried myself for my agency yet, but I just think it would be super cool for us to try together, which is using 11 labs to clone your voice and then actually doing mass outreach and mass voice message sending to your prospects on Instagram. You can also personalize your prospect's recipient's name using 11 labs, so it's all chill. And just like LinkedIn, I'm also posting content on my Instagram, also making my profile somewhat clean and tidy. And after sending some voice messages and posting consistent content, I'm able to get consistent inbound leads in my inbox every day like this. And it's just super fun to be working with so many brands and using so many different outreach channels. And I hope this video actually helped you today in helping you sign your first client. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed the content so far, and I'll see you in the next one.